is going on, YouTube people? Today we have the details on the new PSA Vault with its integration to eBay. We have the seller fees finally announced, and this is all coming pretty soon. No official date yet, but it sounds like this will potentially launch, at least for some people, as soon as June, which, as scary as it sounds, that is only a couple weeks away. We are midway through May already. Where the hell has the year gone? So what happened? Yesterday, the sale of Golden to eBay closed, and the transition of the eBay Vault to PSA closed. So we got a slew of announcements around that. Golden is going to run a new Golden 100 to commemorate this launch. And we'll see what eBay really didn't announce too much on what their plans are for Golden. This is mostly going to be about the PSA Vault and its integration with eBay. So we got some details from PSA, including seller fees. We'll get to that in just a second. They sent out this little email today or yesterday when you were all watching this. So you may have something like this in your inbox. It's kind of a nice way to lay this all out. So essentially, you're going to ship your little cards off to PSA. They're going to slap them in a little plastic, put a little grade assigned to it by somebody, and then now your decision tree begins. You can send them directly to eBay to auction, just straight from there. And initially, it will be auction only, but there will be more selling features coming soon, like best offer, buy it now, to be able to list it that way. So initially, it is 7-day auction only. So keep that in mind if you're thinking about sending something in to potentially use this off the get. If you want to list something at bin, buy it now, maybe hang on to it, ship it home, or you could store it in the vault until that feature goes online. If you don't want to sell it on eBay, you could send it to the vault, where it'll go on over to the vault and it will sit there. Or the traditional option, send it home and then do with it as you please. Sit at it, stare at it, hang on to it, put it underneath the pillow, whatever it is that you want to do with your freshly minted PSA 10 or whatever it is, and you're good to go. Once it's in the vault, you can transition it to eBay if you so choose, or you can send it direct to auction, as we talked about in a minute ago, and then your item's sold and you get cashed out. Everything is done through PSA. PSA is at its simplest terms, or at its very base level here. If you're confused about this at all, PSA is a consignor. That's the simplest way to think about this. They just happen to be grading your cards in between. You're sending them off. They're going to grade them. They're going to sell them for you under their eBay account, not yours. So it'll be listed. All these cards that go through this will be listed on a PSA eBay account, which I believe already exists out there somewhere. It's just not officially out in the light yet. It doesn't have the PSA branded name to it yet. So it won't be a zero seller feedback account once it goes live. That's something Nat talked about in his interview with Poke Knowledge about a week or so ago. So you get it on there, they sell it for you, and the payouts are going to come from PSA, not eBay. If you trigger a 1099, it's coming from PSA, not eBay. So all that stuff will be done on there. They talk about in the Learn More email, it discusses how basically you'll be able to manage all this stuff through the PSA app itself. A couple little interesting notes in here on the bullet points of some things that they go over. One is, and this was something I was extremely critical of in the eBay Vault, their listing titles were atrocious. They were super bad. Everything's going to pull from the PSA database. So, and PSA has all that information in there because they need all that information to put on the label of the card. So what card it is, what parallel it is, what it's numbered out of, what the set number is, what the year is, all that stuff is all in there. And a side benefit to this, even if you're not using any of this vault nonsense or whatever, you're just traditionally listing a card on eBay, there's this little bullet point down here at the bottom that says, using image-based listing capabilities, eBay customers will also be able to scan graded trading cards to create and populate new listings, and then everything is going to flow in from the PSA database. So you have to sit there and fill in the team and the player and what parallel it is and all that nonsense. That's all going to pre-generate from the PSA population report data. So that is pretty interesting. That could be a real time saver for everybody, not even if you're, taking advantage of the eBay Vault system. So let's talk about the real thing that everyone cares about. Fees. That's right. How much are they going to take? So we see here under $100, 16%, 100 to 500, 14%, 500 to 599, 13%, and then 10%, 9%, 7% on up. So not terrible. Most people, if you're just your average seller and you don't have a bunch of nonsense and shenanigans tacked on, you're going to pay, I think, what is it, around 12.9% or something like that. But you're paying for the convenience on this. You don't have to ship anymore. You don't have to package anymore. You don't have to go to the post office. You don't have to buy labels. You don't have to deal with all the nonsense. I will gladly kick them a percentage point or two for that. I usually promote my listings anyway, so I'm going to save, not having to promote listings, I'm going to save a percentage or two on that anyway. And the reason I don't think you'll need to promote listings is because this is going to go under the PSA account. That account is going to have 1 billion eyeballs on it once it goes live. Because a lot of inventory is going to flow through there, especially when bid and buy now go up. A lot of people, that'll be one. They will be a seller account. They'll be one of the ones that you're probably going to want to have like a save search on. Like you're just going to save it so you can see all the new inventory that hits whenever stuff goes up. This isn't going to be for everybody. I get it. But if you're buying to immediately sell, or you just ripped a bunch of product and you're going to send stuff in and sell it, this seems pretty damn convenient. I'm sure there'll be some bugs and kinks to work out, but I am someone that has never vaulted a card. I have one card vaulted currently, and it was one that I bought like 2 years ago on PWCC. It's a $30 Manny Ramirez Bowman refractor that I won on a PWCC auction, and it's just been sitting in there ever since because I've been too lazy to just go in and put the payment information in to ship the thing home. I guess technically I have cards at ComC, so if you want to consider that vaulted, then sure. But I have never actively used a vault on an upper tier level, if you will. This will probably be the first. Whether I've actually vault cards or just immediately send them, I can see, if you sent in some random football card right now, you might not want to immediately send that to a 7-day auction. So maybe you're going to hold that in the vault for a couple months till we get closer to football season and kind of ramp things up. They don't talk about what the specific fees are for removing something from the vault. So say you bought something and you want to have it shipped home. It says as little as $1, but there is no specific layout. And I don't believe there is any storage fees for the vault currently either. I'm sure that could change at some point in time. The other thing that you'll be able to do, I assume, at some point in time will be if you buy something on eBay, a slab, have it shipped directly to the vault. You could do that now. So I assume that process is going to carry over as well. So if you're buying something to flip, potentially, you could just send it straight to the vault and then leave it in there, and then you would save on sales tax of it all because it's going to go to the vault, so you don't have to pay sales tax on it. So there is that aspect of it as well. There's a lot of little angles you could work here. And I'm sure some people are already screaming, what are we even doing anymore? I'm going to not even touch cards anymore. What is the point of all this? And you're not 100% wrong. This is not going to be for everybody. And this does not have to be for every single card. If I send 10 cards in, maybe I want 3 shipped home. And that's another aspect of this I didn't touch on. If you're sending an order in and you're immediately going to sell it all, and you vault it, you just saved, we did that video the other day about breaking down the cost of selling. You immediately just saved 30 to $40 on return shipping that you don't have to pay now because those cards aren't coming back to you. They're just going to go straight to the vault. So that's $35 you just saved. All that stuff adds up. Yeah, you're going to pay a point or two extra on the rate potentially, but like I said before, I will gladly give them an extra buck or two to not have to worry about bubble mailers, not have to worry about shipping labels, not have to worry about going to the post office and making sure that they scanned it, taking it up to the counter if they don't have the self-scanning machine, because heaven forbid they miss the inbound scan and then the thing doesn't show that it's shipped, and then you get 16 DMs about, did my package ship yet? Did it ship yet? Did it ship yet? So I'm all for that. The other thing that you could do, and I did clarify with them just to be 100% for sure, you don't have to make a decision until after you see your grades. You can pre-select it if you want to, but once grades pop, you can redirect things if you want, or wait until grades pop to figure out where you want something to go. So if you send something in and maybe it grades lower than you thought that it would, and maybe you're just like, you know what, screw it, it got an 8, I'll just have it sent home and give it to a kid or whatever the case might be, you could do that. You could just have the card sent home at that point in time and then send the rest of the stuff to the vault if you so choose to do it that way. So you have some flexibility there if you change your mind once you see your grades, if you want to shake things up a little bit. So exciting times ahead. Oh, and then they didn't talk about this at all, but we all know that this is coming at some point in the future. I don't know if it's going to be this year, maybe next year. The next logical step here is, and this is a little bit speculation on my part, is the raw to grade of it all. And what do I mean by that? You purchase a raw card on eBay. Maybe it has to claim, or maybe it has to qualify for authenticity guaranteed. It goes off to California or New Jersey to get AG'd, and it will give you the option to grade the card while it's there. Maybe eventually it'll be everything, but I think at minimum you would see that for authenticity guarantee with that expanding, and maybe they roll it out in waves. I believe in, and I forget who it was. I listened to too many interviews with industry people. Someone had said that they would eventually like to see this kind of roll out to all products that they grade. So, this could expand out to coins and video games and whatever else they get themselves into. So a lot of exciting times ahead. I am all for less friction and streamlining things. I just am. I get it. A lot of people will be triggered by this and won't like this and will never use this and hate everything, and that's perfectly fine. You don't have to use it. No one's forcing you to. But we are really, PSA has been on a tear this week with news. We are really kind of starting to see the future that we are kind of headed for. This is something we've discussed for a while now. Fanatics is in one corner, and it's kind of everybody else. And now you could see eBay and PSA. They're not in the same corner, but boy, they're pretty close to each other. And I'm sure there'll be some, PSA has done some friendly things with Fanatics and all that, but you could definitely see people staking out their claims. And as of right now, these are the three behemoths in the room: Fanatics, Collectors, and eBay. And then they all have their little tentacles of companies underneath it. Like Collectors is technically the parent company. They have PSA, they have WADA. eBay, they have I don't know that they have a partnership with ComC, whatever that means. They have Golden now. So all that stuff kind of all filters underneath them. So that's a big block of the hobby. Collectors has SGC under their wing as well. So you're starting to see the battle lines get drawn. And interesting times ahead. I find this intriguing that they got this out before. Ruben had teased Fanatics is going to be doing something at the National for, a collector-based thing. And the rumors have been swirling that PWCC is going to get rebranded to Fanatics Marketplace any day now. Maybe at the National, maybe beforehand. But I'm wondering if they're getting ready to roll out something similar in regards to, hey, send the card, pull the card on Fanatics Live, get it graded somewhere, send it back to the vault. It gets to sit on the vault, on the Fanatics Vault in PWCC or Fanatics Marketplace, whatever it's called now. And it will be all one big old circle thing inside of the Fanatics Live app or whatever they end up calling this thing at some point in time as well. So you're going to have, to me, it looks like you're going to have two main ecosystems. This PSA, eBay, Collectors Universe thing on one side, and the Fanatics, whatever they have coming on their side, and then obviously, there'll be the smaller ones in between. But those are the two heavyweights in the ring eyeing each other up, battling for our cards and our cash and our attention. Curious for your thoughts and comments, as always, down below. Catch you boys and girls on the next one. Peace.